Afternoon, family. I've been doing a lot of research in my Bible today, in the past few days recently, just getting into the story of Joseph, right? Joseph, I forget whose son he was, but he was very blessed with the Lord and he had a lot of favor with him. He would see these dreams, right? These prophecies. And at first, when he was young, he didn't really understand what was going on. He kept having these crazy dreams. Oh, the skies, his brothers, the sun, they're all bowing down to him. Early on, he has this dream, all right? And he's telling this to his family, his brothers first, and his brothers kind of get jealous. They're like, you seriously think we're going to bow down to you, the youngest? You know what I'm saying? And he tells his dad eventually. His dad's like, you think your sisters, we're all going to bow down to you? But he wasn't like jealous. His dad wasn't jealous. His dad was more questioning what this dream meant overall. Whereas his brother was so jealous and hateful of him for having dreams that he was, like the savior or something. So as time go on, they end up selling Joseph into slavery, and he gets sent off to Egypt. And when he's in Egypt, he's the Pharaoh's servant, and the servant, as a servant, he's doing everything that he's told, and he has the Lord with him. Like in his dreams, he didn't realize it yet, but the Lord was telling him that you are great and you're gonna do great things. As time goes on, he's doing everything like perfect. So the Pharaoh gives him all this power, eventually leading to he literally gets to take over Egypt right underneath the Pharaoh, with the Pharaoh being above him, just one tier. So he's still the Pharaoh, the king of everything in Egypt or whatever. But because of how the Pharaoh seeing that Joseph had all this favor and everything he did, he succeeded. And eventually he ends up getting a little bit of control over his brothers. His dad, long lost dad, and his family, they send his brothers that sold him into slavery to go to Egypt because of, during this time before they come, Joseph has these dreams while he's in prison because I completely skipped over a large part. The Pharaoh's wife, seeing that he was a handsome young man and he had a lot of favor with the Lord, and the wife was lustful for him, and she tried to make him have sexual encounters, and he kept denying her and running away, and she just kept pushing harder and harder up until the point where she ended up saying that he raped her. And then she tells the Pharaoh and all the other servants, and they all end up throwing Joseph in jail. But Joseph ends up being a servant to a warden. And even in jail, he is gaining favor, he's succeeding, he gains control over the whole prison. This little sector that he's in underneath this warden, because the warden even seeing like, okay, he's succeeding with everything he's doing in here. He's cleaning all the whatever chores may be. So he gets all this power even in the jail. All right, like we take back to his dreams, and everybody bows down to him. The suns, the moons, the stars, his fathers, his sisters, brothers, right? His dreams. He doesn't understand it at first. And he's still at this point, he doesn't get it. But as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, well, now you see, like, they're seeing that he's great at everything he does. The Lord is with him. Let's put him in positions of power so we can both succeed. He's doing things for the greater good of Egypt and the master that he is serving. Eventually, he gets back into the throne area. He's not king, but he's right up underneath the Pharaoh again. And because the Pharaoh need help understanding his dreams, he had a dream of 7 fat cows, and 7 thin cows and 7 fat grains and 7 weak grains that are blowing in the wind. And well, he didn't understand what was going on, so he calls all the magicians. Nobody's able to tell him, but this guy that Joseph ended up being in jail with a while back, that he told him before he got out, he was like, tell the Pharaoh that I have helped you with your dreams, and that what I've told you has for to come, because God told Joseph through his dreams that this is what these people's dreams mean. He was being a prophet to everybody around him, telling people what their dreams meant. But that's not the point here. But eventually, he gets back to the Pharaoh, and Pharaoh says he has this dream of this 7 and 7. And Joseph tells him, you're going to have 7 years of great prosperity in the land. You're going to have grains till you can't count no more. Fucking, Lord forgive me. You're going to have, harvest forever. For 7 years at least. And then you're going to have 7 years of famine where none of that prosperity matters. It's just going to be completely wiped out. It's going to be so bad that the great years meant nothing. So when this happens, Joseph tells the Pharaoh that he needs to harvest, and during these years of prosperity, he needs to save the crops and all of that, so that when the famine comes, that they can be eating. There's still going to be plenty of food. No matter what happens, they're always going to be set. And then, truth be told, it all happens. Pharaoh sees it, and he's like, okay, well, you get to see over all the lands now. I'm still going to be the ruler. You're still going to be my servant, but you get control over who gets to come in, who gets to have access to any of the things, do this and that. He gets complete control over that, because he's seeing that the Lord has favor with him, and he's succeeding at everything, and everything that he's doing is good. Over time, like I said, his brothers get sent by his father. His father ends up thinking that Joseph is dead, because his brothers said that he got torn up by wild animals. They brought him a piece of his robe, all bloodied up and stuff. And his father is all miserable for these years. But his brothers come, and they're like, they don't. When he gets to the castle, whatever, his brothers are like, okay, we here to buy some grain, because the famine is so fierce in our area of Canaan. So Joseph was who they were talking to, but they didn't recognize Joseph, their own brother. It's crazy. But Joseph he ends up deciding to be a little harsh to them, because they sold him into slavery. But he wasn't really hateful. It was more just they pay their dues. So he ends up saying, I need you to bring, you guys are spies. You brother. He told his brother that they're spies, and that for them to believe him that they're not spies, that they must return with their father's only son, because he said he had 12 sons altogether. One is Joseph, that he thinks is dead, so that's 11. And then he has this son Benjamin, I believe it's Benjamin, his 12th son, that is the youngest under Joseph. And he decided, when he sent out the brothers, that Benjamin is going to stay behind, because he doesn't want to lose his whole family in one swift go. He's already lost his son. What if he loses everybody else? So, when they get to this castle, they're like, we have a brother and this and that. And then he's like, okay, well, if you want me to believe you, you got to go bring back your brother. And then I'm going to take one of your brothers that you come with. I'm going to arrest him. And you must go back and bring your other brother all the way here. And then you can have some land. I forget exactly what he was talking about. But, they go back. They leave Solomon, I think, Samuel something, some S name. And they go to their father, and they're like, Joseph, don't way too far ahead. They're like, Father, we got the grain. But I missed a big crucial point. As they're returning back to their father, they done purchased the grain and all this food. But as they're on their way back, Joseph tells his servant to put the money back into their bag, so they don't know that they have the money. halfway there, they're checking their bag and they're like, oh, we still have exactly the same amount of money that we came with. This must be a mistake. But they didn't go back. They just carried forth, going back onto dad. They tell the dad, we got the grain. They've captured our brother, and they want all of us to return together. They want Benjamin as well. I forget it. I feel like it's not Benjamin, but you get the point. They bring him, and they want to bring him, and the dad is like, no, I can't. If I lose him, I will be killing myself. I will be dying with him. I'll mourn until my last days. So they end up not going back for years. They just left their brother in jail for years. Crazy to me. Because they didn't want to, it's all crazy. But, and then eventually they end up about to be running out of food. So they have to go back. The famine isn't over yet. 7 years of famine. They're in like the second year. So they got to go back. And they're like, well, Father, we can't return. We told them if we go, we got to bring our son, your son as well. He's like, there's like a argument, and then they finally allow him to go. And as they go, they get there, and I believe this is when Joseph finally can't take it anymore. He reveals himself that I'm Joseph, your long lost brother you sold into slavery. And they all start crying and bow down under it. At first they're terrified because they're like, well, obviously he must know. He invited them into his house to eat dinner, but he didn't tell them that. He just told them to come in, and they were terrified at first because he was like, he must remember that we took all this gold. So they start freaking out, and there's a servant waiting around while he's bringing the other brother out of jail to come eat with them. So he hasn't told him he's Joseph yet either. I'm tripping. But they're sitting down, and then they get up and they start telling the servant, please, there must have been a mistake. We paid honestly, and the gold was still ours at the end. We don't know what happened. And he was like, no, the servant telling him to calm down. It's okay. I got my pay. I don't know how you ended up with that money still. Obviously, God has blessed you. So just don't worry about it. And, the day carries on. The brother comes out, Joseph comes out, and then they sit down and eat. But it's Egyptians, and they're from Canaan as shepherds. The Egyptians hated the shepherds, so they wouldn't even eat with them. So they had to get a different table. And at first Joseph is sitting with the Egyptians because he rules over Egypt now. And then he comes over and he starts filling their plates with all the food. The youngest brother gets 5 times as much as all the other brothers because he has had no wrongdoing. And he's a perfectly innocent soul in this. But like I said, the Lord has been with Joseph this whole time, so he's always succeeded at everything he's done, and everybody has seen it. He's been blessed to be put in the positions of power. I've talked about this before. When you gain favor with the Lord, real success, God isn't really she, but you know what I'm saying? God is going to put you in a position where you can help others. You're going to help the masses. He didn't just get Joseph all this struggle and give him this authority just so he could be wealthy. He was always helping the people. He made sure that when the famine came, everybody was eating. Pharaoh said, you can control who comes in and out of this land. People from other territories, because this famine hit the whole world. Anybody who came around, they were eating. Even his brothers that sold him into slavery, he allowed them to eat. You see what I'm getting at here? But it's not the end of the story. At the end, he's like, I revealed myself. They finally realized, okay, this is Joseph, and they're saying all the sorries and whatnot. And he's like, you did not put me in this place. The Lord allowed you to do all that you have done to bring me here, to do his will, to do his work. And I've said this many times. Many times, God is gonna take. You want something in life, right? But you can't have it because it's gonna take away from God's work. Maybe you want this mansion, all right? You get that mansion, and then you're just gonna be comfortable living there forever. You're gonna think you made it. You're gonna stop trying to make money. You're gonna stop trying to help others. You're gonna be like, all right, I'm good. What do I need to do now? And then this is why a lot of rich people, they get all depressed because money is not the root of happiness. People like to say it's the root of all evil, but it really depends on how you're getting this money, what you're doing with the money. Because energy, money is just energy. And like I've been on a lot of research lately. These past few days, shout out Samuel. When you receive money, it is a sign that you have opened up something in your life to receive that money. When you receive the money, you want to be thankful. Show your gratitude. Lord, thank you, Lord, for allowing me to have this. But you don't want to just keep the money. All right, maybe you want to buy something, invest something, that's good. Put it in a savings account. That's cool too. That's not, not doing nothing with money. When you get the money, you're grateful and you say, I wish to continue this flow, because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So when you have all this energy of money, you don't want to just have this money. You want to give it to people. This is where donation and charity and volunteering work comes in. And you can actually help give back. Maybe people need money more than you. I can understand that I loved money. I put money over the Lord. I was doing all types of money, all types of work for money. You know what I'm saying? But I was never happy. I've become way more happy not having any fucking money, not having to clock in, not doing any of the things that I've sold my soul into. But you still need money. You still gotta eat. Like, I'm still making shit happen. But are you getting the money immorally? You know what I'm saying? Like, we can take it back to Joseph. Joseph became one of the richest people ever because of his gratitude. Not once did he ever question why all of this is happening to them. He just kept doing what the Lord asked of him. You see what I'm saying? What I'm coming to understand with my whole journey with this unemployment especially, I've been broke for so long. I've been used to having money, like, ever since. I've been working for probably 5-6 years now, and like ever since then, the money is constant until now. And then it's just like, what am I doing wrong now that I don't got money? But you weren't doing nothing. At this point in my life, I didn't need money to do anything that was my work. God gives me work to do. Sometimes you don't need money to do it. And Paul is a very good way. Paul Bryson, go watch Paul Bryson. Samuel B. Lee. Sayaki, Iraq, TMX, Sayaki Peterson. I love all my mentors. I've learned so much over this last few months that I'm put a whole new perspective on my life to where I'm actually able to help people. It's crazy to be like, man, I have nothing to offer the world. What am I gonna help somebody with? Now I'm learning skills. I can repair shit. I know how to cut hair. Like I say, I offer these services. I detail cars. You know what I'm saying? I mount TVs. I change brakes. Whatever I can do, I sell that, I cook amazingly. I'm trying to figure out how I could sell smoothies. I'm amazing at making smoothies. But you won't know until you actually start putting those steps in action, And when you were putting all this time into work because you're trying to make all this money for no fucking reason, because you want to buy things that you don't need, you're taking away from your purpose. You know what I'm saying? I gotta tie it all back into this because that's what this whole thing is about. I watched a great movie yesterday, about chaos theory. We as humans are so worried about our time on this earth because of our carnal, fleshy mind, the deceptive snake that slithered within us because we ate that fucking apple. He's always telling you you don't have enough time. You need to make some more money. You need to do this and then. And it's up to us to remind ourselves, God put us here in a vessel that will, yes, it will die, it will deteriorate. But we are an eternal flame. We have a soul within us that is undying. And this whole thing is about embodying that faith. Because when you have faith in the Lord, your Savior, your rock, what are you worried about? There is nothing to worry about. And the Bible is a great example of many men who have been tested by their faith to gain their true favor with the Lord. You know, I've realized, man, I can't do no wrong. I've said this the other day, there is no such thing as good and bad. God has created all of this and He is within everything. How dare you say anything? How are you going to call God sinful? God created Satan. Satan himself isn't even bad. He has a purpose on this planet to make you fall off of track. And it is up to you to determine if you want to get back on track and follow the Lord. For a long time, early on, we will be following this satanic rituals. You need the job, you need to buy this house, you need to make all this money. But He's never telling you need to help. You need to give back. He just, Satan is very egotistical. He's a selfish, materialistic individual. He's very earthly. That's why he's on this realm. You know what I'm saying? He's not God. He's not up there in the heavens, is he? He's a reminder of what it looks like to be earthly, to not have faith in the Lord, to think that you are stronger and powerful or more powerful than the Lord. He took down all these fallen angels with him because even the angels, they got deceived by this entity. Everybody want to say there's sinfulness. No, that's your belief system limiting you. It's another way, like I say, religion is another way of them getting control over you. When you eliminate all this limiting beliefs, shout out Samuel Lee, a real psychologist, man, like Hansel Spirit, man, went through psychology and understood that they're just trying to prescribe motherfuckers medicine. They don't even take the time to understand the actual symptoms. They just want to give you some pills because it's all about money, But that's the worldly shit. It's not even bad. Money itself ain't even bad. You can do a lot of great things when you have a lot of money, but a lot of people are earthly. That's where the sin comes in, and that's not the way to live. That's not how you fully become the embodiment of your highest self. I had to learn what it really looks like to love unconditionally. I'm going to take it back to this movie I was watching. I forgot what it was called, about this Chaos Theory. That ain't even the title, but it had the dude that plays Deadpool. He had a wife that he thought he had a daughter with, 7 years old. This man's been raising this daughter. Come to find out, over some crazy ass incident, his wife tries to call him on a business trip. Some woman is flirting with him. He is denying her, but the wife thinks he is cheating. Okay, this happens to every good man in their life. So what? Story goes on. He ends up getting a fucking car accident on the way home with a pregnant woman. She ends up having a baby on the way to the hospital. Some reason the hospital decided that this man was the father of this random lady's baby, and she ended up not even wanting the baby, so she had the baby. And when somehow she slipped out the fucking hospital, and now they're calling his house saying he's the father of this baby, you need to come get this child and whatnot. And his wife answers, because he's obviously hasn't made it cross state yet. So she's like, what are you talking about, this baby? Do you have the right man? And she's like, yes, this is the number, this is the right address, and you know what I'm saying? And then she's freaking out. She's like, he had a fucking baby with somebody else. Bro, this movie blew my mind. This lady, his wife, is so upset about her husband possibly cheating on her. And then we're gonna take it back to what I said in the beginning. This man has raised a daughter with this woman for 7 years, right? He think this is his daughter. Notice how I'm saying think. Come to find out, to prove that this isn't his baby, this random woman, he gets a DNA test. And he finds out in this DNA test that he has an extra X chromosome. So he is sterile since birth. He can't have kids. What does that mean? That means that this daughter that he thinks that's been his for 7 years now, he thinks this is his daughter. That's not his daughter. And that his wife, that was so worried about him cheating, has slept with another man. And it blew my mind this whole time that she's acting like she doesn't know the father of this child. This man has a best friend this whole movie. You see why? This man is a best friend, and he's constantly trying to fuck on his wife. He literally calls his friend's wife before they work together. He fucking works. This is his boss. His boss is calling his employee's wife before his employee even make it to work. And he's like, oh, what are you wearing? What are you wearing right now? And the wife is like, stop it. She's laughing and shit. She's like, and then he's like, no, come on, tell me what are you wearing? And she's like, come on, man, I'm naked. She's not even naked. She's like, I'm naked, just to get him off her back. But she's like, I like any respectable woman would have just hung up the phone in real life though. But like, she's like, I'm naked. You gonna tell this man that I'm naked? Come to find out, this is early on in the movie when she says this. I'm gonna find out this is the man of the child. They done had sexual intercourse before she even got married to bro. And they're literally in a friend group. This whole circle is all friends. How fucked up is this movie, dog? Bro finds out that he's the father of the child. The boss. This ain't even the end. It's so fucked up. Like, he finds out he's trying to get with the wife. Even though he's like, hey, he's trying to help his friend. He's like, why are you? Because the wife is still like trying to distance herself from the husband, because she's like, well, why are you with these women? What was going on with that? And he's like, well, I'm trying to tell you. And she keeps like blocking him on these numbers, and she won't let him see his daughter and whatever the fuck. That's not even his daughter. Might I add? No calls, man. And she's drinking wine with the fucking best friend. Bro is trying to call her to tell her, like, I never cheated. And she's cheating with the best friend, the father of the child, that she is claiming she doesn't even realize. Like, bro, how are you gonna let this man, like, this takes two people for a baby to happen. This isn't no accidental. You have sex with this man and you let him do his thing inside of you, and then a couple months later you notice a baby bump, and you ain't never even slept with the new husband yet. Is that not like a sign that, oh, my previous partner is the father of this baby? She's going this whole movie acting like she doesn't know this. Even into the fucking end, she act like she don't know. I swear to God, she know. How the fuck would you not know? Like, literally, she has sex with bro. They get married. The husband, the actual husband, they get married the day after they have sex at this fucking New Year's party. She fucked the best friend first, and then is like, In the beginning of the movie, they're at this New Year's party and they're all drinking. And he's like, okay, she's like, I'm looking to get married this year. And I've chosen, I don't want it to be with a stranger. I want it to be with a friend. Crazy. Who the fuck? What? But all the friends, she's like, who wants to marry me? Every dude there raises their hand. How busy was she getting, bro? Later, a few minutes into the movie, she's like, you know, they end up having a kid and so forth. They're married, they're happy, they got this house. You would think that's his kid, you know, it's all, you know, this false image in our head. Crazy. She's like, yeah, I used to get crazy. There's like a little moment, he's going off to work. She's like, yeah, I used to drink. You know, and he was like, you can't do that. You know, we don't do that anymore. She's like, well, yeah, I used to pound Jägermeister all the time. I'm like, yeah, damn, she must have been getting fucked up, bro. Talking about she don't know the father of this child. This still ain't even the end, bro. The husband ends up just fucking giving up. He's like, well, this ain't even my child. Why am I even trying to be with this woman? He goes and he sleeps with the woman that was trying to home wreck in the beginning. Gets her, has a terrible sexual encounter. She like straight dogged this man. She's like, bro, you were crying. Like crazy. And then, you know, he's like, okay, after that he decides like maybe I'm not meant to sleep around with everybody, you know what I'm saying? But he starts living his life a little bit more freely and stuff. He goes to these bars and he's writing on these cards and he's like he's crazy as shit. He's like, I'm gonna take out his wife, his ex-wife, right? He's and he's like, okay, or we're gonna write down. Here's the next card he takes out. He's like, I could take out myself. You know, he's going through it. He's at this bar drinking like crazy. This woman comes, sits down next to him. She's running away from this dude because this dude's trying to hit on her. And she's obviously uninterested. He won't stop. So she sits next to bro, and he's still right on the card. He's not even paying attention. He's like, and this guy is like, hey, bud, you're in my chair, trying to sit next to this beautiful lady. You don't see you're in my spot, pal. And he's like, and he realizes something when he turns around. This guy that's flirting with her is the guy that fucked his whole life up because he was trying to get to work that same day when before all this happened. He ended up being late to work because this asshole wouldn't let him on the boat to get across the fucking ocean, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He gotta go cross the sea to get to his job. And he was like, no, you're not even a minute late. It just hit at 8 o'clock. Sorry, bud, next boat. So he's pissed. And then he turns around, he's like, you're the guy who fucking made me late. You're the reason all this shit is fucking wrong in my life. So he whoops this man's ass. He takes it outside. He finishes up. He wins the fight. This guy is like 2 times his size. He wins. Guy is knocked out. He walks back in the bar. He's like, I'm gonna finish my drink. Everybody's in the bar like, whoa, you cool? They're all staring at bro, and he don't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, I got my own shit going on. He go back to writing on his cards, and he's like, okay. Cross out, take out myself. Cross out the ex-wife shit. He writes down, fight more. This is, you know, you can take this in the Fight Club. All men need some battle in their life, some competition. Iron sharpens iron. All right, this is what it's about. So he's like, he gets in this fight. He's like, I like that. That made me feel good. He's like, I'm gonna fight some more. I'm gonna pick more fights. He's like, I'm gonna drink more as well. This shit make me feel free. Okay. So you see where I get like this point where everybody's like, you need to not drink and cool. Maybe not drink every fucking day. Drink is not that bad though. It might be poison, literally, but be considerate of the fact that it's poison. You know, I see a lot of people online. They're like, bro, you're telling me I can't do this and that. Man, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You're a person. You got a soul. You're gonna die anyways. And we take back to there's no good and evil. We're literally like living on hell, living hell on earth. I guarantee you, we're gonna die, and it's gonna be blissful experience. You go look at NDEs, near-death experiences. Every near-death experience survivor will tell you that it is amazing in the afterlife. So stop worrying about dying. After you realize that, you're a whole lot more free. But back to this movie. Man, he's next to this woman, right? She was getting flirted on. She takes interest in bro, because obviously this is that guy. He just whooped bro ass. And he is not chasing women. You know, you want to be that guy that is not chasing the women. Let them chase you. She's looking at his cards, and she's like, she sees him cross out his wife's name and shit. She's kind of smiling and shit. She's like, okay. She's like, so what's your name? What do you do with it? He don't even give a fuck about this girl too. Like she, you know, you could say she high caliber, right? You know, she look good. He don't give a fuck. He don't. At the end of this shit, he don't even talk to her, and not once. He don't even look at her. He just write down on his car. He walk over to the girl that was home wrecking his relationship in the first place. And he ends up getting with her. Like I said earlier, he has the terrible sexual encounter, realizing he's free. He ends up buying a Harley after this because he had a dream with his ex-wife to buy a Harley and always ride it with no helmet, because riding without a helmet was like this thing for him. He was like, oh, if you do it with the helmet, you won't die. If you do it without the helmet, you're gonna be an organ donor, you know, whatever the fuck. So he's feeling real free. He's fucking cut his hair off. He's drinking. He's out here having life. You know, he's living. He's living in a fucking hotel. But you know, he's free. He ain't gotta go to work no more. He never, like, he was rich as shit already. I'm not gonna lie to you. But you know, he just stopped going because he was like, he had this whole. He was like a philosopher or something, a physicist on time and shit. He give lectures on time. He was late to a fucking lecture on the importance of time. Like, could you imagine? He was like, bro, what am I doing with my life? But when he becomes free, at the very end of this shit, he's like, man, the wife is holding me back. He realized all the shit that's holding him back. So he has this awakening. And he goes back to his job, and he decides he's gonna give a lecture today. Fuck it. He's like, what are all you assholes even here for? I know you don't give a fuck about this topic. We're talking about bullshit. Like, and he gets real philosophical. Amazing. But at the end of it, he ends up realizing it's all about love. You know, what do all spiritual people tell you? And these movies, they'll tell you, bro, all of it, man. Predictive programming is real. But love solves everything. Even Samuel Paul, if you know your biggest haters, you gotta learn to love them because they love you so much. You know? And they see so much in you that they just want to be like you. They love you so much for the fact that they couldn't even be you, that they just gotta hate. You know what I'm saying? Even in the movie, bro talks about this. He's like, I was watching Dave Chappelle, tripping, or Cat Williams, one of these comedians. They're like, man, the haters, they're not even haters for real. They hate good. Because at one point in their life, they had this dream of all these good things, and then they realized that they didn't get those good things. So now when they see somebody else with good things, they just hate it because they're like, that didn't happen to me. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? Projection. But back to the movie. Man has this awakening. He's like, love is everything. So he decides to forgive his ex-wife. Crazy move. Crazy. He's trying to kind of figuring out how to move into forgiving her though. Like, it's not just I'm gonna forgive her and now she's forgiven. You know what I'm saying? You know, it kind of takes some days. He's writing down his cards. He's like, maybe I'll call her and she's still not answering. I'm gonna send her some flowers. He calls his best friend over. He's like, bro, I think you should send her some flowers. She's going through it. He didn't even mention that fact that they were just drinking wine together, the other night. None of that. Best friend, by the way, but he's like, I think if I were you, bro, I would send her some flowers. So he doesn't send her the flowers, but this motherfucker sends the flowers. Cause like I said, he knows he's the dad, and he wants to be with her. He's sending her flowers, bro. He told his best friend, send her flowers. He sent her flowers himself. Like, bro, the betrayal in this movie is unspeakable. Unspeakable. And this man still doesn't realize that his best friend is the father of this child yet. He ends up hanging out with the best friend. He's like, we gotta get you out this hotel. You're out here, you're depressed and whatnot. He's like, oh, man, I'm fucking feeling great, man. I've never been better. And they get out, they're at a fucking ice hockey game. He's like, watch this. They're talking about some shit. He's like, watch this. He pulls his cards out. He's like, okay, I'm gonna show you what I've been doing. He writes down 3 cards. One's like streak on the ice. One's take a Prozac. One's I forgot what the fucking third one was. But he ends up selecting them at random. You know what I'm saying? He gets streak on the ice. And he shows his best friend. He's like, I don't think that's a good. He was like, I think if you're gonna do some crazy shit like this, I think maybe you should have like a God speaking to you or something. And he's just casually ignoring, bro. He's taking his clothes off. And then randomly everybody starts cheering in the crowd, and then he does that shit. He streak on the ice. He gets arrested. He gets bailed out of jail from his boss. Fired. And then what happens next? But the best friend, before he's fully bailed out, he's bailed out, he bails, all that goes on. The best friend goes to the wife, the one with the child. He goes to her. He's like, I think maybe you should talk to Buddy, bro. I think maybe he's going through something. He's like, she was like, was he all right? He's like, yeah, he just got bailed out of jail, but I think I actually kind of came over here to talk about you and I. Like, what? She's like, what? She don't even give a fuck. This man just said that her ex-husband just got out of jail either. Like, bro, what is this movie? Time goes on. At the end, man finds out that this man, his best friend, he comes to his senses. He goes to the house. He sees the flowers with his best friend's handwriting on them, and he gets pissed. And the woman left him alone at this point when he found that. So she walks back into the room and she's like, where you go? And then she sees that the card is on the table. And she's like, okay, well, he's seen this, and you know what I'm saying? Bro, when he seen this card, and he realized, he put it all together. Cause he came over there and he was asking her, do you know who the father is? Do you know the father? She was like, of course I do. Of course, I know. And then she was like, it's you. You're the father. You. It's always been you. Like, bro, fuck no. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, he's kind of just like, he a simp still at this point. But like I said, he finds the card at the end of this. She goes to go get some drink. And he's walking around. He sees the card and he's like, oh, he fucking pissed. So the next clip is the movie, bro. He's walking into a store. I'm like, okay, where's he at? I thought he was in like the liquor store or something. This nigga went to Academy, bro. So he went to go buy a gun. He like, I'm looking for a gun. And the guy at the fucking register, he's like a teenager. He's like, what are you looking for? What's this for? Hunting? He was like, yeah, I'm hunting. He was like, well, okay, what for? He's like, some duck, massive duck. And then the guy's like, okay, are you gonna be doing this from like a distance, up close, and you're gonna be using a sling? And he's like, I think I prefer to do this up close, up face to face. And he's like, the way he said it kind of scared the register dude. He just gave him any gun at that point. He was like, I think you'll need this. He gave him a fucking shotgun. Crazy. But you know what I'm saying, at this point he knows that the best friend is the father of his child. So he is, in his mind, he's like, I'm going to take the best friend out of the picture. He goes to the best friend, like his boss's boss, and he's like, I need the key to his lake house, because he has a little vacation home. He's like, I need that, because they're friends, you know what I'm saying, they all, they party together. So he gives him the key, but the guy, his boss, was like, hey bro, Pal was just over here. He kind of seemed a little strange. He was asking for the key to your lake house, and I gave it to him. I didn't really see any reason not to, but he's a little suspicious. You think I should come down there with you, or maybe? The best friend hears this. It doesn't even fucking cross his mind that maybe he knows that he knows, you know what I'm saying? He's just like, oh no, it's all right, bro. I'm gonna go by myself in the middle of fucking midnight to a lake house. Bro, this shit is crazy. It's retarded. He goes and he's like, all right. He thinks bro is gonna take himself out in his head. He gets to the lake house and bro immediately comes out the door. He's like, yo, I was just about to call you. Let's go out on the lake. Or they go on the fucking boat. They're fighting. They end up fighting with this shotgun. He pulls the shotgun out. They start fighting over it. Because bro thinks he's going to kill himself. Excuse me. He ends up firing a shot. It goes through the boat that they're sitting in the middle of the lake on. They start sinking. And bro at this point still thinks that he's trying to kill himself for some retarded reason. I'm like, how does he not realize he's trying to kill you, my boy? But at the very end of this, after all is said and done, he goes back to this wife and he forgives her. She came out to the lake house, she was like, oh, she calls the cops and the ambulance comes, and then end of the movie. He ends up saying, love can fix everything, though, and so forth. I'm like, man, that's a great example. Cause I'm like, through this whole movie, it's been nothing but like betrayal and wrongdoing to this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we take back to Joseph. It all has a connection. This has been a long ass story, but it all connects. Joseph had all that shit happen to him. I've had all my shit happen to me. You probably got something going on. Even this man in the movie. But in the end, love has fixed it all. Joseph gave his brothers multitudes. He told them, bring our father here. Let him see that I'm still alive. Let him have land in Egypt. I will give y'all the best region, because, like I said, the Egyptians don't like sheep headers, so they weren't going to be in Egypt, but they were able to be in the best region around it. They could get the best food. Even though he'd been sold into slavery, he'd been put into jail, he'd been all type of stuff, right? But in the end, love overcomes everything. And I'm like, at the end of the movie, I realized exactly what he was saying. And that's where I'm tying this into, because you learn to hate everything because of what the devil has, his tie on this world, bro. And you gotta learn to have a little Stockholm syndrome with this life shit. It's not all bad. You gotta learn to love the good and the bad, because it's all an experience. And that's what we come here as souls to do. Experience God's creation without the remembrance of the fact that he created it and gave us all these powers and great undying faith and whatnot. We have all of this within us through him. And the devil is trying to tell us that we don't have that, and he's trying to, it's all deception. And you got to remember, you are the most powerful thing on this soul, on this earth. You are a soul. God wants your soul. Satan wants your soul. You see what I'm saying here? It's priceless. So don't sell your soul for a little bit of earthly money, a little bit of lustful values, whatever it may be. Your intention is your greatest currency. Health is wealth. Come talk to your boy. Link in the description, bio, wherever you see me. I want to be your stepping stone, your platform for your business, your content, whatever you got to offer to the world. Let's do it together, my boy. All right.